everyone just saw this 120 point thing and they're like, what did he do differently that I'm not doing, right?
Scaring my opponent, you know, just doing damage off like the start of the fight, and just like having my opponent scared. This makes it a lot easier for me.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Speedy Gonzalez here, and we just finished up a morning coffee WOD reviewing Wavy Jacob's 120 point cash cup solo performance, right? If you are interested in catching the full episode and getting the full interaction with chat, right? I do have like chat going. Say hi, chat. This is our Twitch chat dooming right now, right? If you want to get the full WOD review morning coffee experience, be sure to check that out on Twitch, right? So follow my Twitch. I usually go live around 9. But yeah, we are going to just give you guys a highlight, which does well on the YouTube algorithm, as I've learned. First up, the first thing we learned from Wavy Jacob is that whenever leaving from his main landing spots, Weeping, there's something very insane about Weeping, right? It's got the materials, everything you need to upgrade. So you can leave Weeping with a spaz or an upgraded weapon every single time. So that's something very interesting. Another comment about Weeping is that he picked up 7 eliminations in this general vicinity, right? So eliminations and people wandering around and people rotating around Weeping is kind of interesting because they tend to concentrate around this area. He never left this area and he found 7 eliminations. So I thought that was interesting. A nice little tidbit for us to take away. The preferred loadout was AR, Spaz, RPG, heal in that order from left to right, first slot to 5th, right? He did run into some issues because I believe controller, if you do something funky on controller, it switches to your first slot, which is AR, and we saw some issues here. I think it was over here, maybe? No, it wasn't gonna be that one. Yeah, it was this one. So he ran into issues here, right? Where he made a quick edit and it swapped to his first gun slot, right? So here shortly. Yeah, so because his shotgun isn't on the first slot, he pulls out his AR, which scuffs him a little bit in that trade. I thought that was something interesting. Wavy Jacobs, the main takeaway, if nothing else, if you learn nothing from this WOD review, is that, and whether I put the interview first or at the end of the VOD review, so stick around at the end. We actually interviewed him. He gave us some insight into his psychology when fighting. But this man opens up fights with RPG Pump, and that's his like, you know, that's his bread and gravy, biscuit and gravy, whatever you want to call it, right? Example number 1, example number 2. Right, this is a constant in his gameplay that you'll see if you just tune in. It's the Wavy Classic, if you want to call it that. Example number 2, and he always, right, and now his opponent's kind of like freaking out, playing defensive. Here, let me open it back up. I can't remember if he actually gets this elimination. I don't know if this guy escapes. Yeah, so the guy's on the defensive because he opened up the fight with that. It is a little bit slippery, but we're just gonna move on, just for the sake of timing of the video. Example number 3, and then we have a 4th example for you guys. And just pay attention to how he's got it mastered, right? Throughout the entire 3 hours, I never saw him once RPG himself, which is insane because other pros tend to RPG themselves, right? Because that opponent was, playing defensively. He does manage to like clean them up nicely. Example number 3, last example that I'll show you guys. Again, his character placement when firing the RPG is so clean. He does end up going down to this guy, actually. But I'm just going to mention this one more time. Pay attention to your character placement and always go for walls. He never, from what we reviewed, he never really attacks cones with RPG. He always goes for walls. I think it's because you can't really get blocked off and hit yourself with the RPG if you go for mainly walls. Something interesting, some quick bit of thinking that he did pull off is his opponent managed to put down a trap on his head, and some quick thinking allowed him to just block it off with a ramp and keep it from even activating. So here's that really quickly. Pickaxes, Trap goes off.
Oh my god, I'm so
Ramp
good
goes
at
down.
that.
Trap doesn't
You
even
know I did
activate
that.
because of that quick bit of thinking, right? Moving on to the next. Yeah, there was a conversation about controller and the AK, and Wavy Jacobs tried it out a little bit and wasn't really feeling the AK, right? This is him talking about it.
Like, actually, I need a spray weapon. I'm dropping the AK now, chat, for this AR.
Yeah. So throughout the course of the water review, that was just a quick little soundbite. But because he likes to run spaz, the AK is not a good swap weapon or a good spray weapon or a good wall replace weapon for running that particular loadout. Oh yeah, this is a good example of what you should be doing in the final 1v1, especially if you have an RPG, right? People are like, yeah, if the final guy has a lot of mats, it's really hard to kill him. Never know what to do. Well, this is what you do, right? If you have an RPG, you just keep reloading the RPG tack, RPG pump, hit him through the builds, hit him through the breaks. There's no excuse for you to not get this little chip damage if you have the RPG. Just constantly keep reloading it, keep firing it, right? Even if they're building, even if they have max mats, the combo hits them through the breaks. So, you know, them having mats is not really an excuse. That's a good example of what to do, you know, if you have an RPG. This is what happens when he encounters RPG pump against him, right? So here he gets traded. Listen. You hear the RPG reload. And immediately he tries to maneuver to the next box and switches to metal, right? Because he knows his opponent's going to try to pump him. In between the break, he's going to try to wavy classic him. So he's moving over here. And he does have it broken, but he doesn't have his shield and his health chipped away because he was able to move in that unpredictable manner. So I thought that was something very interesting that was worth talking about. Yeah, taking trades with attack. If you have attack and you're thinking about doing like a blatant trade, it's kind of ass. Because here, Nolan hits Wavy for 25 with attack. And what does Wavy hit Nolan for? He hits him for 132, right? In general, if you're trying to take a trade and you have attack, I feel like you should think, even if you have the right hand peek like Nolan did there, you should look for an alternative option. Once Nolan got eliminated, this is interesting, right? So Wavy Classic likes the RPG combo, but he won't pick up a green RPG, right?
You have an RPG? He had a fucking green one. Chad, is there an upgrade machine somewhere?
Yeah, so doesn't even bother to pick it up. I thought that was really interesting. So maybe, you know, unless it's blue, like you just leave it, or if there's an upgrade machine. Another cool takeaway that Wavy figured out, or you know, why he lands weeping is because there's the triple chest spawn that everyone knows about, and then there's these coolers are still there from Winter Royale. So there's one right there, and then there was one above. There's actually 3 coolers in the main building, and he gets a slurp fish. I think he gets a harpoon from it too, right? So that was interesting with his spawn. Another little quick tidbit that we took away from Wavy is this edit, right? And I've been debating this. I'm curious about what you guys think. This ramp edit to the right or the left, which, you know, pokes your opponent's head up, I feel like it's a better choice than the Mongrel Classic, because you just see their head the entire time. So I thought that was interesting, something worth talking about. We had an entire conversation about legacy and controller topics. Obviously it's going to get heated in the comments, so I already put up with it with like Twitch chat. But yeah, you know, if you're running RPG spaz, the spaz does lock onto your opponent when you ADS him, right? Here he got a nice like 53 on him. So that is something to take advantage of with aim assist and legacy. I think we already talked about this, right? Yeah, some issues when swapping. A contrast that I saw between Wavy and Unknown, dude, is Wavy I feel like has better tarps and endgame tarping and endgame mechanics than when I VOD reviewed Unknown like 3 to 4 weeks ago. Right? This is something that was missing from Unknown's gameplay. Just a basic ramp tarp.
Oh,
I feel like just a basic ramp tarp. And so he does have those mechanics down on Legacy, which is probably the harder one to build on. This is something interesting. He whiffed a lot of AR shots here, right? So I'm actually going to slow it down for you guys here. He misses all of this even though he's like trying to ADS. And we attributed this to either the window or like, you know, 2 walls protecting the guy. So like you can't aim assist through the 2 walls. We weren't sure what happened there. Oh, Legacy L2 and pump is broken. What's this clip? Oh, he just kept one pumping people, dude. He just kept one pumping. Like at one point he was like headshot spazzing 4 to 5 people in a row, right? So like it just doesn't miss. Couple mistakes that we noticed in the VOD review, and I have to wrap this up really quickly for the timings of the video, is mistake number 1. And this, you know, if you're a Sen High Sky viewer, this might irk you, but like if you're on high elevation half-half and you're not taking advantage of these tarps and breaking in, right? He just completely missed these tarps and didn't take advantage of other people's tarps during first moving. You know, that's kind of a mistake that we noticed. Forgetting to reload his pump because he was like continuing to W key ended up getting him, you know, killed end game because he didn't fire a pump. He could have easily gotten an elimination on this player low ground if he had paid attention to his reloads. But yeah, this guy here, the pump didn't go off and he just relies on his AR. So something to keep aware of, like if you're W keying, make sure your shotgun's reloaded. And placing a trap on controller is extremely difficult. So he actually fumbles here because the one time he decides to place a trap, he fumbles a little bit, right? Guy W keying him, fumbles him a little bit. The guy, he after he placed the trap, he wasn't turbo building. So the guy gets the ramp and, you know, Wavy doesn't get the ramp because of the fumble. And that ends up getting him eliminated and killed. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the VOD review, guys. I'm going to kick it over to the interview with Wavy, so enjoy that. And I'll catch you guys on the next morning coffee. Tune in at 9 a.m. this Saturday and Sunday for sure. After Cash Cups, after competitive content happens, 9 a.m. Catch me. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. All right, guys. I'm Speedy Gonzalez, and I'm here with Wavy Jacob, who beat Unknown's record of 114. Right, Unknown previously set the last record on the last Cash Cup, and Wavy Jacob just took home 120 right yesterday. So Wavy Jacob, what's up, man?
Yo, it's good.
That's good, man. So we were talking before, right? Like your friends, they know you play Fortnite. They dapped you up. How's school today?
A lot of my school does. Yeah, a lot of my school knows like I play Fortnite competitive and not like I place really good, and they're like happy for me.
Yeah, is it a big deal? Is it like a whatever deal? Is it just like, because I was looking at your stats, right? I think you have like somewhere near 50K earnings, right? Is that like, is that a big deal at school, or is that just like whatever? Like, yeah, he's that kid. He's on that grind.
Not like my friends, like they respect it, you know. They know that like I could go somewhere with this, and they respect that.
Nice. So I was VOD reviewing you a little bit, right? So I noticed a couple things. Obviously the controller, right? Yeah. Low ping, 160 FPS monitor. How old are you?
I'm 16.
Okay, so you're like 16, you're like young, you're cracked.
Yeah.
So all of that factors in, right? What would you say is like the secret? Like everyone just saw this 120 point thing and they're like, what did he do differently that I'm not doing, right? Or like, you know, all the top tier pros are like, what do I need to do in order to, you know, beat that record of 120? What did he do that I'm not doing? What do you think that is?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I think a lot of it, I'm not gonna say a lot, but some of it is ping. You know, ping does help a lot. But I think just like scaring my opponent, you know, just doing damage off like the start of the fight, and just like having my opponent scared, this makes it a lot easier for me.
Yeah, I was watching your games. You open up almost all the fights with an RPG pump, right? Is that the strat you think?
Yeah, I think it's literally a free pump shot because it goes through every time, so it's worth.
Yeah, and then they're rocked, they're on the defensive, they're like freaking out, why is this guy W king me? Is that what you really play for? Because even when you were like mid game, I was surprised you were pushing people, right? Like you were set for end game and you were still pushing people with that RPG pump.
Yeah, nobody really expects that, and after you do a lot of damage to someone, they're not really gonna go for edit plays or go for shots because they're scared.
Okay. And another thing I noticed about your gameplay in particular is yeah, you have the 0 ping, but you don't pickaxe that much. You kind of run up with your AR and you spray a little bit. I thought that was kind of unique to you. Is there a reason for that?
I used to use a pickaxe, but I didn't really get walls, so I started using the AR, and I usually get the wall like every time. And I think this on a controller having a pickaxe out is like not really the play because you have to flop through your guns and switch to your shotgun, and it's just not quick enough. So just being on your guns is just better.
So it's just because you're on controller, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And I didn't see a lot of trap plays either. Is that because also on controller, no, like
Yeah,
controller
it feels
struggles?
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. That's honestly like a lot of insight. I guess the last thing I wanted to ask is what are your thoughts on the AK? Because I saw you you try it out a little bit, right? But you like to run pump, you like to run RPG, and then the AK is like a terrible swap weapon. I saw you like really struggle with that. But you do have controller aim, right? So the beam's kind of nice. What do you think? Maybe with attack?
I think it's nice. I don't really like the attack shotgun, but I think it's nice if you're holding an SMG maybe. But like if I have like a sniper or RPG, I'd prefer a spray weapon with that.
Mm-hmm. So
I
you
can really like spray the wall and take it quick enough with the AK.
yeah. So what about an AUG? I guess what would you be running? Scar, AUG, or AK? Do you think?
I would most definitely take the Scar over anything.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I remember like watching Unknown just always take the AUG because of the lower recoil or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I guess like the final question is there anyone I was watching Scoped and he like watches like D's, right? Like I feel like controller players watch other controller players and like learn from them. Is there anyone that you've kind of like learned from and watched for a while? Like,
honestly, I really don't watch anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap up the interview. Is there anything you want to plug, like your socials? Obviously, like your Twitch is popping off after you won that, right? So that's awesome.
Just the Twitter, Wavy Jacob 1.
Yeah. All right. So I'll plug that in the description below for you guys on YouTube. Wavy Jacob, definitely an insane player. I was VOD reviewing him. Something definitely to watch out for. And I'll do the VOD review after this interview. So thank you again, Wavy, for the interview. Thank you for that, man.
Yes, sir.